Alright everybody, here's my Mr. Spock model. I built him back in between 2009 2010. Had him up in the attic in storage, and I didn't do a good job with him with the seam work, and noticed that his head fell off. So here's his head, and I didn't do no work on the seam work with this build. And on his face I had to redo it, and I've been working on the seam work on his face because I think the front of the face attaches to the back of the head. I got a little bit more seam work. The camera picks it up right down in here. I'll touch that up tonight and then hit him with another coat of primer. I do have his hair masked off, as you can see here if the camera's picking it up, but I've been wanting to touch this model up for a long time. I got to redo his hands. The serpents down here, you can see the seam work on this. We'll see the seams on this, but I didn't clean those up, and I'm not going to really go overboard on this. I think overall it turned out really nice. I'm just going to have to touch them up. Hands are a little bit too much pink there, so I'm going to mask that all off and redo that. Front of his shirt looks like it might need a little bit of a touch up on it. I'm going to have to look at that real good and see what I can do with that. I got to clean it up here so I can remount his head. But communicator looks pretty good, still in good shape. The phaser looks okay. But I figured just for a little bit of a challenge to retouch this up and do it. I mean, even on his pant legs you might see the seam work there. I didn't do that at all. Didn't sand that out and redo it when I built the kit. But like I said, overall I think the colors that I used on it looks pretty good, and I'm gonna clean up his face and redo it. The colors that I have for skin tone, I have this flat flesh XF15 Tamiya. It's a little bit too dark. The only other I have is Model Masters 4601. It's a skin tone. It's a lighter flesh tone. I'll probably use that on his face and hands. But once I get this all done, I'll film it and put it up on my YouTube channel. Biggest challenge I have is with his face, but it's coming together. It's looking good. A little bit more work, and I'll have it done and ready to paint the flesh tones on it. But I figured I'd give everybody a look at my model here, Mr. Spock. Like I said, the seam work, I'm not going to bother with that. I got a couple more of these kits in stock. Can always build another one down the road. But to do a touch up and fix up on this is minor work. So I'm going to continue working on Mr. Spock's face tonight. I figured I'd let everybody take a look at what I'm doing with my model of Mr. Spock, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on Mr. Spock. I've been working on his face, as you can see here on the video. I did his eyebrows, did his eyes. I'm not sure the color of his pupils, but I went ahead and used flat black. Did his lips, they look pretty good. I didn't want them to look too pinkish. Did the collar. I'll take them off here and get a little closer look at him. I think he turned out pretty good. I'll have to double check and make sure everything's looking good before I hit him with a dull coat. I thought a clear coat, but I'll use a dull coat on him. Bring the shine on his hair down a little bit, but I think he turned out pretty good. The camera's going to pick up everything, of course, and you can probably see the seam lines in his hair there. Like I said in the previous video, I didn't do any major work on the seams with Mr. Spock. I just wanted to touch up his face, and I think I did pretty good. He looks really good. Like I said, his lips look pretty decent. His eyes look okay. Sideburns look good. His ears look good. Same for this side over here. Back of his head looks pretty good. And on his lips, I use this here, it's the color. And what I did is I used a drop from a toothpick, some flat flesh, XF15. Used a couple drops of the skin tone, 4601, and a couple drops of the hot pink pearl, 4640. Come up with the color I have that I use for his lips. I'm going to continue working on Mr. Spock. I figured I'd give everybody an update. I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on Mr. Spock. I'm going to be working on his face again tonight. I'm going to double check everything. I think he looks pretty good, and like I said, this camera I have is going to pick up everything, but overall I think he turned out good. I think I did a good job on his face. I'm not going to do nothing fancy. I'm not going to do any shading or anything like that on him. You know, I just wanted him to look better, and I think I did a pretty decent job with him. He looks pretty good. And then I'm going to look over the rest of the kit, see if I got to do any more touch-ups. I think I'm going to have to touch up on his shirt. I'll have to match up the paint. I know I have some in stock, and I'll not overlook, but I'm going to take another look at his hands and see if they need another coat of paint. I touched up the phaser. Communicator's okay. So I'm going to continue working on Mr. Spock. I figure I'd give everybody an update, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, this is the final wrap with Mr. Spock. I just put his head back on. I used some 5-minute epoxy. I think for the little bit of work I needed to do to bring him back to looking better than what I had him looking like the first time around, I think he turned out really good. Hopefully the camera will pick him up. I didn't do anything fancy with this kit. I didn't do any seam work. You can see that on the serpents. I like the color that I did for the base. I didn't do any washes. I know the colors are a little bit vibrant, but overall I think he turned out pretty good. I'll build another one down the road, and might have the phaser blinking and communicator working too. Maybe the serpent's eyes will glow or something like that. With all the LEDs and everything out today, you can really do more to this kit. But I took my time with him. I redid his face. I think it turned out pretty good. Like I said, I wouldn't enter this into a contest, but I'm happy with what I had to do to make him look better. I'd like to thank all my YouTube subscribers. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. There'll be more videos down the road, and I'll talk with everybody later.